of when it was starting. Okay, I think we are live now.
We are.
Awesome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gamma Dames. I am Holly.
I'm Lucy.
And I am Sarah.
Yay! We made it here only 3 minutes late today, which is pretty good for us.
Miraculous.
Hello, everybody who is watching and listening and all sorts on Twitter and Facebook and wherever everybody is from. Hello. So I guess we should launch straight in with some comic recommendations. And I actually have 4, so I'm going to let you guys go first.
4?
Well, I have 1, and it's going to be brief. So, it's from 2 weeks ago, and it's this. Superwoman. I was pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting all that much, to be honest, because I'm not a family of, like, Superman fan. But, yeah, it was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, awesome.
I still need to read some of them, so maybe that'll be the next one I read of the Rebirth.
It's really good. It's not what I was expecting at all.
I also have my comic with me. It's like show and tell. And this was last week, and it's Kill or Be Killed, and it's an Image comic. And this guy basically, he kind of just hates his life. He's a bit miserable, so he decides to kill himself, and he cheats death. He doesn't die, and he realizes, oh no, I do want to live. I don't want to die. And then, like, this demon, who I think is meant to be death, effectively says, well, you owe me rent now, because you're meant to die. You're living a stolen life, so you have to kill someone regularly, or you will die. And that's kind of how the comic ends.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like that. It's Ed Brubaker, isn't it? And he wrote...
And Sean Phillips, yeah. Really, really good. I was really looking forward to it when we did the image pics, you know, from the expo. Mm-hmm. That, The Hunt, and something else were like the 3 that I was really looking forward to. And so far, The Hunt and Kill or Be Killed. Oh, and Black Monday Murders. That was my 3, and they've all been great.
Yeah.
Yay!
I've got 4. One's from this week, and the other 3 are from a couple of weeks ago. So, one from a couple of weeks ago is one that everyone thought was going to be ridiculous, but I really enjoyed it, which was the Marvel Tsum Tsum comic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And Tsum Tsums, I've actually got one here. Hang on.
Nice Batman.
Yes. Tsum Tsums, for people who don't know, are these little bean-shaped things. This is a She-Hulk one. Yes. I've got about 20, and they're amazing, and they're like a Disney thing, so Disney still do them. And Marvel did a comic about them a couple of weeks ago, and it was everyone that picked up was like, are you serious? And I was like, actually, it was really good. It was just like silly fun, basically, about a load of they're like little plain, bland, like white Tsum Tsums that come to Earth, and then they see all the superheroes and then change into them. And it's just like a nice, like kid-friendly, silly comic. I thought it was really nice and really sweet. And all the artwork and the covers are hilarious.
No lie.
From that, yeah.
I was going to say, no lie, when I got that comic, I was at my friend's house and I went, oh, have they really brought this comic out, this big marketing scheme to sell me these Tsum Tsums? And then I opened it up and I was like, oh my god, it worked. I was like, they're so cute.
I need all of them. And my other ones from that week were Lady Killer 2, because the first Lady Killer is amazing. And Lady Killer 2, Joelle Jones is doing the whole thing, so she's writing it now as well as drawing it. And that was just like amazing and like twice as violent as the first run. And that's on Dark Horse, I think. And then the other one from a couple of weeks ago was Animosity, which was Aftershock Comics, I think.
Yeah, it was.
And that one, I think, Lucy, you'll probably like that. It was like, it's basically all the animals in the world kind of gain the ability to talk, and they're all sort of like, yeah, well, you know, fuck you for eating us and for putting us in zoos. But then you also have like this little girl who it's about and her dog is really loyal and really protects her, and it all goes a bit, it all hits the fan a little bit, but in a good way. And it's really funny, but in a really dark, violent way. So it's very like black comedy sort of stuff.
I need to read that.
But really good fun.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. And then the one from this week was the Backstagers, which is on Boom Comics, which is just really cute about kids that work backstage in like a theatre in their school, and that's just really sweet, like Lumberjanes kind of style thing. So that's my other one. There's been quite a lot of good stuff recently.
Yeah.
I usually find they do in the summer though. That's when all of the big titles and good stories do come out.
Yeah, I've been quite pleased with those. I have got a whole list of things to talk about.
Wow.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm slacking a little bit all of a sudden.
I was just kind of like, oh, there's loads of stuff we didn't get around to talking about. I don't know if we ever talked about the Captain Marvel casting.
I think we touched on it.
Yeah, because it's Boston, isn't it? And I don't know if we really talked about her. Yeah, I can't remember. The thing that's happening.
I'm pretty sure we didn't, but it might have been the week that I was in San Diego, and you might have spoken about it before I joined in.
Oh, maybe. Good point. So we'll skip that one over just in case we're repeating ourselves. My next thing I feel like we should discuss, because it's everywhere at the moment, is Suicide Squad.
Ugh.
Which I still haven't seen.
Well, there's Sarah's opinion out the way.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why you haven't gone to watch it yet? For that reaction?
It's because they are not having my money for that. Basically, like, on principle, I'm not giving them money for that. I'm very much a kind of put my money where my mouth is person. And if I don't like something on principle, I'm not going to pay. Whereas the comic books that I like, I'll buy them. The artists that I like, I'll buy everything they make. But I literally, from the moment I saw the promo image on the 75th anniversary of the Joker of Jared Leto, I said outright, I am not watching that. Because for me, it's a matter of respect. Yeah. Like, you can't do that to a 75-year established character. Like, it's not right. And everyone knows that Joker's my boy, so...
So your boycott is mostly based around the Joker, then?
Absolutely. And I know he's only in it for 9 minutes, but I'm still not watching it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Similar thing with Batman vs Superman. I had so many people come in the shop and say like, "Oh, it's not worth going to the cinema to see it. Like, you might as well just wait." So that's why I haven't. And also, I'm not a fan of Harley Quinn, and a lot of people have said she's like the main draw for the movie. So it's like I can go and see it, but I'm not gonna like the thing that's apparently good in it anyway. I mean, I'm sure I'll see it when it comes out, but yeah, it didn't really draw me in.
Everyone that's come into the shop has said that the lady that played Amanda Waller was amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people said that Will Smith is good, but he's just Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Which he does well.
As usual, yeah. But, we like him.
Yeah.
But, so apparently Amanda Waller and Captain Boomerang were very, very good. A lot of people didn't understand why Enchantress was in it at all. And then someone was having a bit of a whinge about the fact that, the whole story about Katana and the fact that her father's soul is kept in her sword.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a big emotional story, and apparently they just kind of chucked it in there and glazed over it and moved on. And she's one of my favourites.
Yeah, they don't... Like, she seems awesome, but they didn't do justice enough for anyone. You could tell blatantly Will Smith and Margaret Robbie got paid a lot more than everyone else because they got a lot more screen time than everyone else. And everyone else was like this filler for a group. They had like such an opportunity of rich, diverse characters.
Yeah.
Really, they dropped the ball. It was better than I thought. Like, it was an entertaining action film, but that doesn't make it a good film. It was a badly made film. It was a badly scripted film. I think in some places it was a badly cast film. I knowing what it is now, I wouldn't have gone to pay for it.
So do you think that maybe it would have worked better in the same format as, we've had the books, Suicide Squad Most Wanted?
Yeah.
Do you reckon it maybe would have worked better in that kind of format? Because obviously the first book of that was Deadshot Katana, and they showed like a load of stories about those.
The thing is, I think with something when, like, I think it, in the fact, like, I haven't read the books. Uh, um, 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 being a movie, it should have been a Netflix series because every episode could have been a different mission. They could have focused on one sole character in each episode to give the depth they needed to get. It was too many new characters to cram in, and it was done really weirdly. It was so bad, so bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad I've given that one a miss, to be quite honest.
But I'm glad for anyone who enjoyed it. I'm actually jealous of them because I wish I had enjoyed it, because I was very neutral. I didn't really. I actually had faith in Jared Leto for doing a good Joker.
Well, I said all along
he let me down.
I didn't have an issue with the casting as such. Like, he's good, and I had every hope that he would kind of fulfill that role. But the aesthetic is an aesthetic that I just can't get behind at all. And a lot of people have said it sounds fairly hypocritical for, coming from a girl that's absolutely covered in tattoos, a full sleeve of Joker tattoos. Like, yes, I like the Joker and tattoos, but not together.
Yeah, I can understand that. We've had quite an interesting question on Twitter from Darren Fisher, who is at Kyrel800, who said, any advice for opening a comic book shop other than don't? Haha. Can it work as just comics, or does it need a gimmick?
That is a good question.
From experience in our store, we are just a comic book shop. Like, we have the odd bit of merchandise, but we are basically just comics, and it is so difficult to make a profit on just comics. Like, the margin that you make on them, you're talking pence per issue. And if you overbuy one title, it can take your whole profit.
Yeah. I mean, this is quite interesting for us because all three of us have got totally different situations. We've got totally different shops, because obviously mine is a mix of comics and graphic novels and merchandise as well. Like, I do a lot of the Funko Pop stuff and figures and all bits and pieces like that. And then obviously I have kind of like the community aspect with my shop as well, with like ladies' nights and board game days and clubs and stuff like that. And then Lucy's is different again.
I sell just back catalogue comics. I don't sell second-hand graphic novels as well, but no merchandise and no new comics.
Got lots of games.
I think second-hand comics is actually an incredibly profitable thing for me. My margin is incredibly high in comparison to how little it is for you. But the problem with that is because I can get thousands of comics in one day as a trade-in, and they take days, weeks, months to process, and they take years to sell. So unfortunately, it's not like I can just order in as little or as many as I want, but it's like a 6 and 2 3s. They're both very risky businesses. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I would say probably for all of us is, if anyone's like thinking of opening a shop, don't go into it lightly thinking that it's just going to be a hobby.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people kind of have this idea that when you open a comic book shop, you're just going to have fun all the time, and it's kind of the opposite. It's stressful most of the time.
Yeah. I have so many people come into my shop and they're lovely customers, really, really nice, but they'll come in just to chat because they think that I can just sit there and play games and read comics, and it's like, no, I don't get half the amount of stuff I need to get done that day, and then I have to go home and work till 10 o'clock to get that done.
Yeah, same.
So basically, if you're going to do it for love, not for money, because if you don't love what you're doing, you're not going to carry on doing it, because of the amount of work that it takes. The love for what you're selling needs to outweigh that amount of work.
Yeah, I always say to people, like, the biggest thing is, first of all, do absolutely buttloads of research. Don't just like go into it being like, nah, I think I'll just open a shop. Like, you need to do a ton. It also helps if you've worked anywhere that sold the stuff you're trying to sell, otherwise you're not going to know what sells in your area. And then the other thing is, exactly that, like, bearing in mind you're probably not going to be able to pay yourself for a while, if at all. You really need to be willing to be there and be working until 10, 11 o'clock every night just for the love of doing it, which lucky for us, all of us, I think, we do love doing it, so it makes it worthwhile.
I'm in my shop now on a Sunday night.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't just end when you walk out the door either.
No.
Which I think a lot of people don't realise. And it is hard work, and like you said, the profit margins on anything comic stuff is not very big at all. So don't go into it if you're wanting to make money. I saw a thing on on a forum once that said, take $10,000 and throw it into a fire. That's essentially what you're doing. But I mean, if you've got if the love's there and you're desperately wanting to do it, and you think you've got enough information and the sort of skills to do it, then I say go for it. I think it does help if you can bring something a little bit different to the table as well.
I'd also say as well, I think in today's terms, I think just comics will never do it, because I sell games, jewelry, and comics. I may not necessarily sell merchandise like you do, but I think it's very hard to make money on just comics these days.
Yeah.
How you do a series is incredible.
We're kind of managing, just about. We are kind of managing, but I'd say we break even. We don't make profit.
Yeah, exactly. And the Brexit hasn't helped anybody.
No, because obviously Diamond put their prices up. We had to put our prices up.
Yeah, everyone did, I think.
We'd kind of been proud of ourselves and the fact that we were offering, comics at such a great price, like really, really good price. And that's why we were never making any money, is because we weren't charging enough, and we know that. But, we have some real good customers that come in and they buy almost everything. Everything we bring in, they'll buy it. So we didn't want them to have to kind of cut their lists down. But, it was very well received, because they know that we're not taking the mick.
No, exactly. And I think that is why it's important to support your local comic shop. Rather than, I know it's sometimes quicker or like a few pounds cheaper to go to Amazon or to buy them digitally, but if you can go to your local comic shop, you really should go there, because they're not trying to rip you off. They are charging the bare minimum for what they've had to pay for it.
Have customers and carry on selling books.
Exactly. So if you can support your local comic shop, you should, and if you don't, then we're all very cross with you.
Yeah.
How did you not say mad? And they wouldn't like us when we're mad. How did you miss that?
No. Oh no.
Damn it.
Awesome. I've got something that I am mad about. A little bit mad. I'm keeping it internal at the moment. Which is, apparently, there is going to be a Lost Boys TV series. Oh.
And this makes you mad?
This makes me... Well, I'm trying not to be mad, because then I'd be a hypocrite, because I told everyone about Ghostbusters to not be cross. So I can't be outwardly cross. I'm just like, oh, I wish that wasn't happening. But I will watch it, because I want to see... Because it might end up being great. I'm just a little bit concerned, because like Lost Boys is my precious thing that I don't want anyone to touch. And they're doing a comic book in October, which I think does look awesome. And this series is by the guy called... He's called Rob Thomas, and he did iZombie and Veronica Mars, and I haven't watched either.
Oh, I love iZombie.
Okay.
iZombie wasn't terrible.
Okay, that's hopeful then. The thing is, Lost Boys 2 and 3, the movies, are so bad that my hope is that at least if the TV series is better than those, then that's fine. I hope.
There's some redemption.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of information out about it, I guess, because it's still in the early stages. But it is going to be on CW, and they do like Arrow and Flash, which are absolutely awful. So I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers
crossed. I'm not going to tell you off for being mad about a Lost Boys TV series. And I've just sat here and ranted for 5 minutes about the fact that I'm refusing to pay for Suicide Squad. So. So, yeah, you'd be as mad as you like. I'm not going to call you names.
I'll at least watch it and see if there's reason to be mad. But there is a question.
How can it be a series though?
Yeah, I know. But then they made a series out of what's that Tarantino one? From Dawn Till Dusk. Is that what it is?
Oh, that was Dusk Till Dawn.
Dusk Till Dawn.
Great film.
Yeah.
Didn't watch the series.
The series is actually quite good. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really sure how it would be a series because I feel like the Lost Boys film is everything you need from that. You don't really need to carry it on, but I don't know. But we have got a question that kind of leads from that. Ben Fraser 1979 on Twitter says there seems to be a lot of old titles / films etc. being reinvented. What comic, film, or TV show would you revive? Why and how?
I want Count Duckula back.
Oh my god, yes.
I want a comic of it. I keep pitching it to people. I've told Dirk from IDW. I've told like various publishers actually that I want a bloody Count Duckula book. So I'm going to start a petition, and I want you all to sign it.
Yeah.
I know exactly. Reboot. I don't know if any of you ever watched it, but that was my TV childhood, and I have all the figures, and I watched all the TV episodes over and over and over again. And about 6 years ago, I was promised a movie, and it never came. So, yeah.
Heartbreaking.
If I could have anything else, it would be Reboot.
You know what else we need? I just thought of another one. Because I wanted to be one when I was a kid. Biker Mice from Mars.
That was going to be my one.
Yes!
That is my all-time favourite cartoon.
Yes, I love them so much.
That would be one for me. I would even happily take a comic.
One.
I like the yellow one. This is perfect.
We should have been Biker Mice.
That's another group cosplay. Amazing.
Ilan Sheedy just said... What?
Oh, go on, Lucy, go on.
Oh, sorry, yeah, everything just, like, crashed then. Ilan Sheedy just said they've just relaunched Danger Mouse, so Ducks could be a great tie-in.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Please.
That'd be amazing. Let me see what else is on my list. We've got a couple of things that are kind of, like, big at the moment. The big one that I keep seeing everywhere is this Mary Jane casting, which if people watching haven't heard, where have you been? They have supposedly cast Mary Jane for the new Spider-Man movie, and it's someone called, I'm probably going to say her name wrong, Zendaya, I guess is how you say her name.
That's how I've been pronouncing it.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that it's that. And people are cross about it, which is just baffling to me because I think she's gorgeous and looks just like Mary Jane should look.
I think she looks gorgeous, and there are some pictures where she looks possibly too innocent. There are other pictures where I can just imagine her saying, like, face it, tiger, and stuff like that, and she looks amazing. And I've never actually seen her act in anything.
No, I haven't.
I've heard good and bad things. But as long as she has red hair, I don't care.
Mm-hmm. That's literally what I was going to say. I mean, like, I have no idea who she is or, you know, like, where she came from. I've never seen her in anything. So I have no opinion on her as an actress so long as she keeps the red hair. But to me, you know, like, I'm a little biased because I think Lucy should have been Mary Jane.
I agree.
You know what? I did pitch it to them. So.
Yeah, I mean, Lucy, you're the big Spidey fan.
Spider-Man. Yeah, it's like giving Spider-Man no cowl or something. It's like removing an iconic piece of identity, removing her red hair. But the colour of her skin, that's fine. Like, as long as she's got the personality and the red hair, happy.
Yeah, I think that's how it should be. Yeah, I completely agree. And there's some pictures floating around of her with red hair as well, and she looks amazing.
Yeah, I saw one that someone had edited, and she looks gorgeous with red hair. Big, long, red, wavy.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah,
the only thing I've heard, though, is it might not actually be true. This casting, it might not actually, like, apparently, I don't know, I haven't done any research, but someone told me that all the news is coming from coming from the people making the film. It's coming from these news reports where if you actually look at the cast list, she's actually called Michelle, not Mary Jane. So she might not even be Mary Jane.
I read a thing, and I can't remember what site it was on now. It was one of the first ones that, like, tweeted about it, basically saying that the character's called Michelle, but that towards the end of the movie it'll be like revealed that she's Mary Jane, and that supposedly the reason they haven't come out and just said it hasn't come from Marvel, is because they're worried about this backlash.
Fair enough.
Which is kind of awful that that's even a thing.
The thing is, how can Marvel be worried about backlash, and they just turned Iron Man into a teenage black girl?
Yeah, but but the thing is, they had backlash from that, and that was just the comic books. Marvel Studios are obviously a kind of a whole different thing with the movies, so...
They shouldn't be, though, because, I mean, like, I'm not really a Marvel fan, but the one thing that I really respect about them is they make these decisions, and then they just go, oh, fuck the rest of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been better if they just sort of, like, boldly come out and said it, and like, there you go, deal with it. Yeah.
Own it like they have with everything else. Like, that's the one thing I give them credit for, is whenever they announce something and it's controversial, they're just like, suck it up. Whereas DC are like, oh, we're so sorry, we'll sorry.
Change it. Yes. Yeah, I think she looks great, and I hope she is Mary Jane, because I think she's wonderful. Awesome. I'm just going to see if we've had any more questions. We've got a few on Twitter. Ben Fraser 1979 asked, do you think DC Comics are harder to translate to film, as it's inherently it's harder to have empathy for the characters?
To be honest, from a DC fan, no. I think what they need to do is get fans of DC Comics to make the movies, because what we're losing in a lot of these movies is the essence of the characters themselves. Yeah. We're not being introduced to the characters the way they're supposed to be seen. And I think if that's how you represent your company, that's not the way to do it. Like, one movie is basically a massive, massive advert for your books.
Yeah.
And if you can't get the book into the movie, you can't get the character from the book into the movie, just don't waste your time or your money.
I feel like something that Marvel have done really well with their movies as well, and I only noticed it after there was a thing going around Instagram that was like, pick like 6 characters you relate to or something like that, and like there's never movie DC characters, because something about them in the Marvel films, you'll watch like Captain America, and there'll be something about his personality and the way they've portrayed him where you might actually have a chance to relate to him in some way. Whereas I can't imagine anyone being like, I totally relate to Bruce Wayne in Batman vs Superman. Like, that isn't going to happen. There's no like human element of them. And I appreciate they're superheroes and it's ridiculous, but something that grounds those stories is them having some kind of human element that you can relate to, or like even see yourself or someone else in.
I completely agree.
I saw like a glimmer of hope in Batman vs Superman right at the beginning. You know, where they're showing the damage from the buildings, and you know it looks like a terrorist attack, and you've got Bruce and the little girl, and you know you can tell that he's like mad about it. And then you know that's the one moment I thought, yeah, okay, like that's a perfectly reasonable human response. But then
I thought that was an amazing intro.
Yeah, the introduction to the movie was absolutely fantastic. But then I think it lost its way a little after that. I still enjoyed it overall, but I think that was the one moment where we saw Bruce being Bruce, I think.
Yeah, being human. I don't think there's enough of it. And it's especially hard to make someone like Superman have anything relatable or even enjoyable to watch. And I don't know whether that's the way he's written or the fact that Henry Cavill's made of cardboard, but
I was going to say, I mean, I adore Henry Cavill, but that's purely on a physical basis.
Yeah.
His face doesn't move for like the whole of that movie. And it's a lovely face to look at, but you know, when words are coming out, I need the face to match them.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. But I will say DC Rebirth Superman has been really good. Like I'm not a Superman fan in the slightest, but I've actually enjoyed it more than Batman.
Oh, awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Statements are made.
Yeah. We've had another question from Darren Fisher, which is Kyril800 on Twitter. What do you think of the current state of Comic-Cons in the UK, and which do you think is best for actual comics? And I feel like we've probably all got the same answer.
I'm going to answer this one with my top 3. So, London Super Comic Con, Thought Bubble, and Nice. Nice is in Bedford in like a week or 2. I think it's like 2 weeks' time. But those 3 have the most kind of comic-based element. Great creators, not too big, yeah, really enjoyable, and not as much kind of crap thrown in.
Yeah, I agree. SuperCon's my favourite.
agree. Yeah, mine too.
Although, honorary mention for Ice. I said Nice, but Ice is good as well.
I don't know that one.
No, I mean, neither do I.
I think it's in Birmingham.
Oh.
From memory, I could be wrong, but I think it's the Birmingham one. That one's good too. So that's 4. 4 comic-based Comic-Cons. The rest should just be called.
Yeah, I do think we've actually got some quite good conventions in the UK. Obviously, they are so much smaller than ones elsewhere, but I do think they're quite good. I would maybe like to see more panels, but I know they tried out panels at SuperCon.
And it just doesn't work.
No, but also the panels at SuperCon were crap. Like none of them seemed remotely interesting. They were almost all about making comics, which not everyone there is interested in.
Yeah, I think 2 years ago, when it was like the 75th anniversary of a load of DC characters, I went to the 75 years of the Joker and Ball and Liba Mayo, and it was really, really good. All talking about, the history of the Joker and what's going on in current then comics.
Yeah.
So more stuff like that would be nice, but not necessarily, here's how to draw a book.
Yeah, the only thing that bugs me is there's so many creators from elsewhere in the world that they never seem to get over here, and that just crushes me because it feels like all the ones I really love never get to come over.
Well, Brian K. Vaughan was at the last Nice Comic-Con, and I was heartbroken I didn't get to go see him.
He was, but I had tonsillitis, so I had to kind of not go in the end. I was really, really poorly. But luckily, Chris and Dan took my books with me to get them signed, and Chris brought me a nice little Ben Oliver print back as well to cheer me up, because I was really looking forward to seeing Ben Oliver. I hadn't met him in person yet, and he's my second favourite artist. So yeah, that was nice, but I was gutted too, so I'm with you there.
Yeah, my big one is there's 2. I'd love to meet Babs Tarr, who used to do Batgirl until the team changed. I love her, but she hasn't managed to come over. She was meant to do SuperCon this year, but had to cancel. And then the biggest one for me is a guy called Trad Moore, who draws. He used to draw all new Ghost Rider, and he just does a lot of covers now. So he's doing the covers for Vote Loki. He drew Luther Strike. I love him. I want to kiss his face for making such glorious artwork. And he hasn't, as far as I know, he hasn't been over to the UK at all. And that just kills me because I just love him and want to pay him to draw everything.
I'm like that with maybe 3 people. If I could have all of my comics drawn, every single comic in the world drawn by 3 people, I'd be very happy.
Yeah, me too. How are we? Someone, Samurai Zero X mentioned Stranger Things. Have either of you watched it yet?
No.
Yes!
Isn't it the best?
It is on my to watch. I'm a little worried because it's been so hyped that when I watch it, I'm going to be like, really, guys? But
it's amazing.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I honestly, Alan, who just commented, I was staying at his one day, and I was like, let's watch Stranger Things, because it was meant to be spooky. I didn't want to watch it on my own. But I'm really bad at starting something. I'm like, I'm not very good at committing to things, especially a TV show. And when we put it on, we watched all but 2 episodes in one night. And we only stopped because we were passing out the next day. It's so good.
It's so good. Lucy, I actually watched all of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in 2 days.
Did you like it?
It was so up my street. I love musicals anyway, and it was just everything about it ticked all my boxes. I think there's 18 episodes, and I did them all in 2 days because I was just like, yes, next one. Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
With that one, I think I only managed to get through 1 episode, I think. And I think the only time it made me laugh was, you know, this song about getting ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was the only time I actually kind of giggled to myself, and then I was like, yeah, this isn't necessarily my thing.
Yeah, it was
So
so
I ended
thing.
up watching. What did I watch instead? I can't remember. There's some serial killer about documentary about serial killers. Serial killer about documentaries.
I love that. I'm not going to watch anything about love. Let's watch murder.
Yeah, I loved it. That was right up my street. Everything about it.
I loved it. But I can understand, I can genuinely, with Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, understand if it's not someone's jam.
Yeah, me too.
It's almost like a guilty pleasure. Like, it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think it's genius.
It's only because anything like that, or Portlandia, or you know, anything that has loads of singing in it, I have to be in a very specific mood for. And that day, I was just not in that place.
Yeah,
I'm always in the mood for musicals.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Always in the mood for musicals, yes. I have got another thing on the list. Although, as Sarah mentioned to me before we started, and a few people have said as well, I'm not sure where the figures came from, but Marvel have come out and said that they currently have a 40% female readership base. There isn't any like solid explanation of where those figures have come from. A few people have said they think it might be off the app, like the digital thing, which would make sense, I guess, because as far as I know, they wouldn't have got that information from retailers because we don't get asked.
But then if it's only from the app, is that not more kind of an insight into how many women read comics digitally instead of physically? You know, no matter how you look at it, it's still kind of a skewed figure.
Yeah, it is, and it more makes me think, like, are they reading them digitally because they don't feel comfortable going into comic book shops?
Which is one thing.
Yeah, which is one thing, but you don't know. But either way, it's the only even hint at solid information that anyone's had from anywhere. I've been saying for a while that I wish they'd figure out a way to do this, even if it's via like a poll or something, because there's like no information on it at all. And I've had arguments with people, and so many people throw that thing at me of like, well, it's male dominated. It's 90% male readers, and I'm like, that's not true to begin with, but I don't have any hard data from anywhere that I can back that up with. All I can back it up with.
That in my store, we're probably on an 85-15. Like, girls are 15% probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine's about, I would say equal 50-50, if not 60-40 to girls.
Yeah, you see, girls in this town, they just don't read comics. A lot of them are, I'm going to sound really awful now, but a lot of them are the kind where they'll buy all the merchandise and they'll wear all the costumes, and they never come in and buy a book.
See, I was about to say that. My client base is definitely 50-50. I get just as many girls in my shop as boys.
Yeah.
But what they buy is actually very different. The girls go crazy over the geeky jewellery, but don't buy so much as the actual comic book. So obviously they're seeing the stuff from the films, because I have like props and replicas, and they go crazy over that, but then they don't buy the comics as much. I'd probably say mine's more about 70-30.
That's interesting.
That is actually really interesting.
And I think it will differ quite a lot geographically, and then in each shop as well.
Because we're in quite a small town, I think that probably has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, we've only got a few really kind of elemental hardcore customers that basically are our core. Around that, we've got a few people that buy a couple of books. But the girls don't really buy the books all that much. We've got a few that have some hefty subscriptions. Yeah. But that's mainly DC and indie, to be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't. In terms of what they're reading, mine's totally mixed. There's some girls that read anything. There's some girls that are purely Marvel, purely DC, Image stuff, whatever. It's really, really mixed. But obviously I do the ladies' nights as well, which brings another percentage of women into the shop. Because each ladies' night there's about on average about 30 women at each one. And then
that's amazing.
that fluctuates. So some weeks there'll be 25, some weeks there'll be 45. It depends. But I mean, that's just like one event a month. And then obviously that lot plus other women come into the shop like on a daily basis. But I know from speaking to other people in shops, that's like, it's different. It seems to be different everywhere. But that's why I wish there was some data on it.
Probably an exception.
Yeah, probably.
To be honest. Because, yeah, like I say, the women that come into the shop, we have a few that buy a lot, and we have a lot that buy a few. But, yeah, I would say that they are still most definitely the minority in our store.
Interesting.
Which is funny, given that the staff is Dan, and then me and another girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you're intimidating. Maybe the girls are scared to go up to you.
I mean, I know.
I would hope not.
Gail Simone did like a little thing on Twitter a while ago, and she asked retailers to do that, to like tweet her the percentage of what they thought theirs was, and it seemed to be quite mixed. But until there's like actual hard survey done, I don't think anyone's going to know, which is a shame because it would be nice to have actual information about it.
Yeah.
It might change the way stuff's marketed as well, so I don't know why they haven't done it. But yeah. It is. I mean, it's good. Like, I mean, I get, especially, and I don't know if this is common in other comic shops at all, really, but I get quite a lot of young girls of like between the ages of like 12 and 15 coming to get their first comic book, and then they're the ones that come back with their mums like every week or every month to get a new comic book, and then they start coming to ladies' night, and it's just like, so it's constantly growing.
Oh.
Yeah, we have a few young female readers. We have one guy that brings his two daughters in, and they are literally the nicest children I've ever encountered in my life. They're just so polite, and you know, like when you can see that they're genuinely excited about getting their books, and they'll come in and they'll be talking about what they've been reading and, you know, what they can't wait to read this time. And I think that's probably the biggest difference for me in kind of our male-female customers. The males tend to be a little less chatty about what they're reading. Like, they'll say, oh yeah, it was good, or oh yeah, it was okay. But the girls that do come in are kind of maybe a little more impassioned about what they're reading.
Mm-hmm. I just think it's so easy for girls, especially young girls, to get alienated out of this hobby really early on. I know when I first started reading comics, it was stuff that was probably a little bit too old for me, that I probably shouldn't have been reading, like The Killing Joke and stuff like that. And it would have been nice when I was first getting into it to have a younger aimed Batgirl or a Lumberjanes or a Hellcat or a Miss Marvel or something like that. So I think it is important that there are places they can go where they feel comfortable and they feel safe, if you like, to find the things that they're interested in that is appropriate for them and is going to be nice to read and interesting and a good comic book. Because I think like, a lot. I think a
Legend of Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of comic book shops are still quite intimidating. I mean, you two have probably had, I think we've spoken about this before, when you've gone into a comic shop and had like a weird reaction from the people that work there. And it's like, there are still a lot of those places that are intimidating.
I don't really get that, but I get weird reactions because I'm the one behind the counter in the comic shop. That's the weird stuff I get too. A lot.
Yeah. I like that when people go, do you even read comics? I'm like, oh, I'd hope so, because I own the shop.
See, I've never had that in the shop, ever. But I have had it at conventions. Like when I've been sitting at someone's table and someone will come over, and obviously whoever I'm sitting with is busy signing or drawing something for someone, I'll kind of start chatting to the person in the line, and they'll be like, oh, so do you read books? I'm like, I'm not sitting next to this person that I massively admire for no reason. Like, oh, I've never heard of this guy ever. Like.
Oh, it is silly. I'm just catching up on tweets. Have we got any comments on YouTube?
Elan and Samurai OX have had this big, massive conversation to each other, because Alan is the guy I do my YouTube videos, and Samurai, who always comments and watches our podcast, also now watches my videos too and tweets me.
Samurai, you're awesome.
So as soon as Alan started commenting, he was like, "Hi, Alan!"
Oh, yay!
And they've just been having a big long chat.
Oh, making friends.
Yeah, see, we just bring people together.
See, I think that's one kind of really sweet thing about this podcast is, like, obviously before we did this, I didn't know Lucy all that well. Like, I knew Holly, but I didn't know Lucy. And obviously, like, we're all friends now. It's really nice how strange things bring people together.
How I just force people together.
Which is such a good show.
Yeah. Oh, how lovely. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything else on my list. There's something else on my list that probably won't be relevant to anybody's interests, but they are putting Robbie Rees in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Robbie Rees is the current Ghost Rider. He's the young kid that's Ghost Rider, which makes me simultaneously excited and terrified, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is terrible. And Robbie Rees is like my precious baby that I don't want them to ruin. And I desperately, desperately, desperately wanted a Robbie Rees movie. But now we're probably not going to get it because he's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, we might do, because they might see him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and go, he's too good for this.
Well, they spoke about...
Get him out.
Yeah, they spoke about doing a Netflix series, but I think it was decided that the budget for the special effects would have to be huge, because obviously he's on fire all the time, and it's full of car stunts and whatever. So I can get that, but like, don't just shove him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, that's offensive, and I know it's going to be horrible. And the guy they've cast is 33. And Robbie Rees is like, at most, like 17, 18. Like, he's still in school. That's a whole part of his character, is that he's still in school. And they've cast a 33-year-old. I'm very cross about it. I literally made a video like 2 weeks ago saying, like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had a movie with Robbie Rees in? Like, oh, imagine if they did that movie and it was directed by George Miller, who did Mad Max. Wouldn't that be great? And then 2 weeks later, it's like, well, fuck you. He's going to be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Great. You were like, oh, I just got like this slight rant.
I'm very passionate about him. I just need to protect him and make sure that he's done properly. I know Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is so bad that it won't be.
Yeah, no, it's awful.
And I looked up the guy, and I was like, okay, look, maybe he's in his 30s, but he looks young. No, he doesn't. He looks like he's in his 30s. He's all liney and wrinkly.
He's all liney.
He's not my precious young hot Robbie Rees. What's happened?
Oh dear.
Write a strongly worded letter.
Yeah.
I think I will, with examples of better actors. Yeah.
Who was that guy that you posted on Facebook today from the Olympics?
Oh, I don't know, but he was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Someone in the comments was like, is this... Yeah, someone in the comments was like, is this Nightwing? And I was like, oh my god, I wish it was Nightwing.
I saw it and I was like, aww.
Yeah, he was cute. I don't care much for the Olympics, but you might
start watching
catch up
them now.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of it so far. But I do have a question. If we have any kind of international viewers, I have a question, because I've been drinking a drink while I've been sat here, and I've always wanted to know this. Do you guys have it in your country? So if people could let me know, that would be great. Anyway, back to the actual
why do you want
thing.
What? I want to know, how many times have you thought this? This seems like a burning question to you.
Yeah, I've wanted to know for ages, because obviously it says on here, brewed in Scotland to a secret recipe since 1901. So obviously it's from Scotland and it made it to England and Ireland and Wales, but what about America? Or did it go over with us to Australia, you know?
Samurai said, haven't seen it here in the middle of the States.
Thanks.
I don't remember seeing it in Pennsylvania, but in Scotland.
In San Diego.
in Scotland, and it blew my mind that, you know how like we're in a pub and we like, do you want Coke or 7 Up? They have Iron Brew on draft in every pub.
So I need to go to Scotland.
And I just got so drunk on vodka and Iron Brew because you're in Scotland.
How was your trip down to London, Lucy?
It was amazing. I met up with comic writer Andy Ewington.
He's lovely.
Oh, yeah. He is. He was so lovely because I've reviewed a couple of his comics. And so he was like, let's meet up for lunch. And so we did. And he paid as a thank you for all the nice words. And I was like, no, thank you. And so, yeah, I met up with him. And, yeah, it was lovely. And then I did...
He's so nice. He was at London Super. And I got to have a chat with him, obviously, after we'd been talking on Facebook and Twitter for quite a while. So it was nice to see him in person, and it's good that, you know, when you meet people and they're really lovely human beings and you're really grateful for that. Yeah, he's definitely one of the nice humans.
Yeah, it makes me feel good that he does good work, because then I like to promote that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very easily swayed. My opinion of someone's work is very easily swayed if they turn out to be an asshole.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, warning to comic creators: if you meet people and they say how much they like your work and you're rude to them, it's probably going to change.
Yeah, I feel like you're talking from experience there.
Yes.
I think it works as a blanket rule. Like, don't be mean to people selling your stuff. Like,
yes.
You need us to do that, so don't be nasty.
Well, I think we can like on principle just not stock things.
Yeah. Yeah, I might do that with one or two people.
Yeah. I mean, it only takes like 4 of us to go, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a big loss.
It is. It's a massive loss. People need to realise that they're not the be-all and end-all, and it can end like that, no matter how good they are at creating something.
We've had it is
really cliche, but they are there because of their fans.
Yeah, exactly. I really like this question we've had from Darren Fisher, which is Chiral800, again on Twitter. Is there a comic you will always collect regardless of story quality just for loyalty to the character? Yes. This guy. Like anything Captain America, I'll read it, even if it's the current Steve Rogers stuff. I'm even reading that. I will read Sam Wilson Captain America. I will read Bucky Cap. I will read anything with Steve Rogers in or Bucky Barnes. I'm even reading Thunderbolts, which is
dreadful,
not good in any way. I'm even painfully going like, oh god, I can't bear to look at this, but Bucky's in it. So yeah, that's mine.
I don't have a character that I'm loyal to as such, but anything touched by Liber Mayo or Ben Oliver will find its way into my pull list regardless. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it's about. It could be pictures of dog shit for 25 pages, and I will buy it. So sometimes I'll buy 2 copies. Sometimes I'll buy 3.
Mine, I'm very loyal to the Walking Dead series. I haven't read it for a long time, but I will still pick up every single issue just because the comic itself is incredible. I hate the TV show, but I love the comic. And then I'm very, very loyal to the writer Mark Miller. His stuff is very 50-50 for me. Like, I either love his work or I just don't. And but I will pick up everything he writes just in case, because when it's good,
you know,
it's just
to give him credit. Like, since I don't know whether it was having his daughters or what, but since he's kind of matured as a writer, like he's not just doing things for shock value anymore. Like Empress and Hook and, you know, all of the more recent titles have been really good.
Oh, to be fair, I haven't been disappointed for a very long, long time, but I wasn't a massive fan of, like, Wanted. I'm, like, one of the few people who hate Kick-Ass. I hate it, and that's what he's most famous for, but he also did Superman Red Son at the time, and stuff like that, so, like, which is incredible. And so, yeah, I'm loyal to him. But you're right, he just gets better and better, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think he's definitely finding his thing.
Creator-wise, for me now, I'll read anything that Jeff Lemire has done or anything that Rick Remender has done. And I will look at anything that Trad Moore has drawn or been involved in, pretty much. I'll also, to be honest, I'll probably read anything Cameron Stewart or Brendan Fletcher have been a part of as well.
I was thinking you were going to say Brendan Fletcher.
I just like, same with Jeff Lemire and Rick Remender, like, I just like everything he's done. And like we were saying earlier, like him and Cameron are so sweet, which almost like adds a thing. When you read a comic by someone you like their work, it makes it better because you read it and you're like, this was really good, and they're so nice. This is perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I'm buying these things, and these people that were really, really, really nice to me are making money from this. Exactly. So I'm going to buy more.
Yeah. I'm really, 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 really excited for Gerard Way's new comics.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm indifferent.
But I'm hoping to be swayed.
Were you a fan of him already? Because I am.
No.
Let me just get my little Gerard really quick.
Oh, you emo! I don't even think she can hear that. You emo!
I actually have 4 Gerards. I love him.
You don't need 4 Gerards. I'm just going to tell you now, that's 1 more and it's an intervention. Okay?
I have 4 Gerards and I have 7 Captain Americas.
Okay, you're way past the intervention process for Captain America.
You know something though, when it comes to pops, all I've really got is kind of Jokers, apart from Suicide Squad and Heath Ledger, and I have a set of the Monsters, and that's it.
I got really bad with them. I was buying them all. I had so many, and then I started looking at the boxes, going, "That's £10 a pop." A bit of fun.
A pop.
Yeah, and I started up in my head, going, "I cannot afford this," and so I kept my Superman Red Sun one and my Raphael, and that was it.
Oh, actually, I've thought I have got a V for Vendetta and a Judge Dredd.
Nice.
So
mine are all here.
Not many.
Yeah. And Holly has a museum of them.
Mine are consuming my shelf now. Like when I grabbed these 2 Gerards, it knocked another Gerard off.
Well, the thing is, I have a statue fetish.
Okay, there you go. Everyone's got something.
Which is more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my very first. Have you seen the Hot Toys?
Yeah.
Like the incredible, like lifelike, amazing figures. I've never had one before. I've got friends that collect them, and they're always amazing. And I always regretted not getting the Winter Soldier one. So I have got a Bucky one coming, a Civil War Bucky, and that's a lot of money.
Well, at the moment in our shop, we have a competition going. The 3 of us, we're doing Race to Hot Toys, and what we did was we ordered items for £10. And we're going to sell those for a profit, and then we're going to take the bigger amount of money and buy something else. And it's the first one of us that gets to a hot toy.
That's a brilliant game. That's amazing.
Oh my god, yes.
I love that.
So you should start it. Race to Hot Toys.
Yeah.
What are you up to at the moment?
We've literally just got our first items in. We've started it this week.
So every podcast you're going to have to tell us how you're doing.
Yeah.
And who's winning. I'll make a chart.
Yeah, maybe while we're live we should tell people our new kind of like podcast schedule plan.
Oh yeah, I've just realised we kind of haven't told anyone.
We should probably mention that.
Yeah.
So we're basically, correct me if I get this wrong, we're going to do a podcast monthly. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's
so
right.
Like one weekend per month we're going to do this, and then we're each going to have like a time of the month.
I love how you've coined that phrase.
Yeah. So we're going to take it in turns, like for a full week, to take charge of the social media. So obviously this week, if you've been paying attention, you'll have seen that Holly has been doing the social media this week.
Which she's done an amazing job of. Like, I was actually going to say, before we started filming, you would be on it.
You have been good. I'm terrible, so I'm going to make a concerted effort to be good at it.
Yeah, so we'll be doing that. So we'll each be kind of doing a week of that, and you'll know it's us because hopefully, if we remember, which I forgot a few times, but we'll sign off with like our initials, so you'll know who you're talking to. And then we'll do this once a month, so everyone can watch and listen. And what else have we got planned?
Well, we're building a website.
We are.
Which will now and again, it will have like information, like any cons we're going to and stuff about us. We're going to have all the links to everything there. But also one day we're going to have maybe articles and stuff up there. So we're still creating content. It's just not just live now. So
and I'm currently working on kind of collecting a group of guests. So we had Alex Sinclair, and people liked it. You know, we got really good feedback from having a guest on. So I'm currently working on getting a few more.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll also have more guest podcasts because you guys like that, and more content on the website. And eventually, when we figure it out, we'll work out how to get the audio of these online as well, so that people can get them on iTunes and whatever apps people use for podcasts, and all that stuff. So yeah, it should be good. And I know we mentioned it in the last podcast, but we are still looking for a good hashtag to get us to SuperCon next year.
We are.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there is a prize. There is still a prize. From San Diego.
Sarah offered a prize.
So
come on, guys, get thinking.
Yeah, tweet us with a hashtag that you think we could use to campaign to get us to SuperCon next year, so that all you lovely people can meet us there, and we have an excuse to dress up as She-Hulks, which I think is something that you all want to see.
And biker mice.
And biker mice. So yeah, I think that's everything updated. So keep your eyes on all the social media stuff on the Facebook and the Twitter and the YouTube and all that stuff. And remember, you can send us questions whenever you like with hashtag @theGammaDames, and we will answer them hopefully on each live show. Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! I think that's everything. I don't think I've forgotten anything. Cool. Awesome. Well, I think that brings us to about an hour. I think it's been.
It's over an hour, actually.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for watching, and thank you super loads to everyone who sent us questions and joined in and chatted, and new friends that have happened in the YouTube comments. You are amazing. Please keep your eyes on all our social media stuff, because that will all be kicking off.
And I still want everyone from all the different countries to let me know whether you have Iron Brew.
Yeah. This is an important question. She couldn't Google it. She needed to ask it on a podcast.
Because, you know, like, we have an international food section in Tesco. Maybe they have the same.
Very true.
Yeah.
Good point. So yeah,
and on that note,
thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you very soon.
Bye.
bye.
Bye.